Hello friends, welcome to session 5, Abbreviations and Definitions. What we are going to understand in the session is what is business requirement document, not how it is to be prepared. Today's agenda is more on to what it is actually. Okay, what are the components or probably highlights of this or features of this to that extent, not that how it is prepared and can we prepare the BRD today. That is not the agenda scope of this particular session. Then functional requirement document, we call it as FRD. How functional document requirement document is prepared, that is not the agenda. What actually functional requirement document is and what are the features of FRD. So we will understand all these things with respect to their definition and what actually they are. Software development life cycle, or system development life cycle, SDLC, what exactly this SDLC is. Same way, joint application development session, or JAD. So and user acceptance testing. We'll understand these 4-5 terms and abbreviations which are frequently used as a system analyst or business analyst. So therefore, today's takeaway will be: I know what is BRD, I know what are the features of BRD, what it contains, I know what is FRD. You should be able to answer these questions like what is FRD. So you should be able to explain what is FRD. You should be able to explain what is SDLC. Same way, you should be able to explain each and every terms of this. What is user acceptance testing? So the agenda is understanding these abbreviations and these terms used in as a business analyst. Now this is a broad requirement and very broadly explained concept of business, its requirement, and how we start the project before it goes to production, what exactly we need to know. If you look at the B1 or business level 1 requirement is high level requirement, and just look at the example. It says that I need a portal, I need a website that should list our products. Okay, we have some products, I want a website to this is the requirement which I face from my client. I generally get calls for websites and softwares. One of my client just called me that I need a point of sale, and that's it. He did not mention anything, what features he want, what is going to be the scope of that point of sale. He just want that I have a sweet shop in Delhi, and I want point of sale wherein I should be able to bill my customers. Interestingly, I had a point of sale. The moment I started discussing the features, he came out with more requirements and he started talking about, I want to change the invoice, I want to make updations, I want different categories of taxing systems, and these taxes, there are some products where there is no tax, there are some products that tax is varying. So a lot of conditions, if and buts, and a lot of things started coming up when he started discussing with me the exact requirement, when I started discussing the features. So therefore this is a high level requirement that I want some for example, this is e-commerce portal concept. I want a portal to list our products. Then functional requirement, if you look at this F3, is basically functional requirement. The system shall show up to 5 pictures per product. Now this is a precise information. Look, the website will have 5 pictures on the product page or on home page. Okay, same way, another level, another non-functional requirement, or NF4 it says that product listing shall be updated real time. Means whenever there is a change, I should be able to update it. It is not functional, but I want a feature. This is a kind of logic, this is a kind of business rule. I want my product to be updatable in real time if there is a new product and new products are published. So this is not functional requirement, this is non-functional requirement. Same way, user cases means how the user is going to log in and how the user experience will be on my portal. This is a very another example of user use cases or UC5. Like normal flow is the user will log in, user will click on the product list, and then so on and so forth. So it is a very broadly one page understanding of the requirement from high level to use cases. If you look at the hierarchy, it starts with a simple one line statement from the client that I want a portal to list our products. And second, then it comes to functional, then we have non-functional, and then we have, as we fine grain and we go take a deep dive, it goes to the use cases also. So we are going to go step by step, baby steps, and we'll arrive at these different use cases, examples and everything. So at the end of the training, you should be able to understand each and every aspect and how to prepare. As I said, business analyst answer what is to be done, not how it is to be done. We're going to talk about what I need. Okay, this is what the agenda is all about. Now, what is a business process? First of all, what is a business and what is a system? I've been asking these strange, very basic foundation questions. 90% of the time, I never get the right answer. For example, when I ask a system, anybody, how data is stored on a DVD, very hardware, computer, very technical question. I have a DVD, I have a movie on the DVD. Can you explain me how the movie is stored on the DVD? I want to go and drill down to the micro level. I want to understand how one picture is stored on a DVD. Nobody was able to give the right answer. Same way, what is a business? Business or system? When I started my career, we used to have system analysis and design. There was a paper, there was jam called systems analysis and design. And the business is nothing but a system. By definition, a system is basically multiple components, different components working together, coordination with each other to arrive at a logical conclusion to meet the ultimate objective of the system or business for one goal. So there's one goal. Now, to understand that, we can take any example. I want, let's say, for example, the postal department. The postal department itself is a business, itself is a system. Now, system starts with when you write a letter. From that to the point where the letter is reached to the destination, final destination, there is a process. Same way, anything we treat it as simple as making a cup of tea is a process. Now, when we start a process, it has some beginning. There are some decisions, decision taking. There are some steps involved, and finally there is a conclusion. So process is something which takes something in, do something, and give you something back. So business and the business process. So business is the all processes put together is called business, and business process is one such module or one such department which is acting independently but in coordination with other departments. Many businesses have a process in place to assist with project management and implementation. Now, this line itself suggests that this is one special process which is there for the project management and implementation. Means the business is going as usual. There is no hindrance to the business right now, and we are not talking about a fresh business or new business. We are talking about existing business, and we are planning to develop a software for the business, or we are planning to automate that business. Now, to automate that business, or when the business wants a project to be done, we have a special project management and implementation process to assist the technical team or the company or the vendor to help him out that okay, I want this. Now this probably sounds very technical, very complicated, but let me take an example. I have a vendor, okay, I have a client, sorry, I have a client where the total team size is maybe 250 people. Now they want their entire product to be listed on a website, on a portal. They designated two dedicated person for that purpose, to internal coordination and implementation and management of the project from their side. And we deputed the entire team for the project, but from their side, that process of, by means of those two resources was there to help us out. Then we have opportunity for improvements. It is involves making reasonable estimates of how big a project is and how much it is going to cost. Then we have business requirements are critical activities of an enterprise that must be performed to meet the organizational objectives. Now, when I'm using this organizational objectives, this objective is specific to the particular automation business which we are going to do, maybe a software or maybe one particular process only. So whatever we are talking about here is talking about with respect to the project implementation in terms of software, in terms of website, in terms of portal, or in terms of standalone software or complete automation, like we have enterprise management system, ERP, enterprise resource planning. So anything and everything comes under business automation, and the process is one such activity or group of activities which is independent of others but which is coordinating with others. So we have a dedicated process in business to assist with project management and implementation. Now, business requirement document, BRD. A typical BRD expresses the requirement of the business customers and stakeholders of a new project. Here we are talking about two things. One is business customers, and second we are talking about stakeholders of the new project. So the BRD may be for existing project also, existing customers also, or maybe a new business, maybe for the startup of a new business also. So typical BRD expresses the requirement. So what BRD contains? It contains the requirement. What BRD lists, it lists all the requirement of the business customers or anybody who is stakeholder in the new project. Okay, it summarizes the business regions for undertaking the project, and to to be very precise, the simplest possible answer is it answers this question. The question is, what problems do the business customers want to solve? So basically this is need. What exactly they want to do? What problems do the business customers want to solve? So this BRD answers this question. Or what job does the business customers want to accomplish? Maybe we are talking about from the customer point of view. So what job these business customers want to accomplish? So with respect to this vendor, one particular client which I was talking about, the sweet shop owner. If you look at what problems do the business customers want to solve? The problem of issuing invoices, manual invoices, that was a problem. They want to resolve this. Discrepancies, consistencies, errors, and problems when we do the things manually. They want to get rid of this. They want to solve the problems of accounting. They want to manage their inventories well. So that was all part of this. And second is, what job does the business customers want to accomplish? So from the business customer point of view, they wanted to have a printed invoice, and they wanted to have a proper description of product they purchased, the tax they paid, and the details from where they purchased. They want a proper inventory, or proper invoice of the goods they purchased from the client. And it describes the constraints on any proposed solution from a business perspective, because we may have some constraints, we may have some rules, some government rules, or some self enforced rules and conditions. So it describes that constraints which are to be placed on that. So this is actually the business requirement document. Objective of BRD: why do we prepare BRD? To gain the agreement with stakeholders, to make everybody come at a common platform, to get that written document done, that okay, we have this, you know this is the agreement and we are going to do this. So objective of BRD is to make clear with the client that this is the end result of the project and this is what you are going to get. So what the answer of this question, what, this is listed in BRD. Okay, so to gain the agreement with the stakeholders, to provide a foundation to communicate to a technology service provider what the solution needs to do to satisfy the customers and the business needs. Again, it gives the foundation, okay, to communicate to the technology service provider. Here technology service provider is the company who is giving the solution, who is developing the software, who is working with the project. So it gives you the foundation as a business analyst to your company. The BRD is the foundation, and you get a startup. Okay, this is the starting point. All right, and to provide input to the next phase of the project. Now, what next? After the requirement is taken, what next? So there are different phases. So it is the first step, BRD. It provides the input to the next phase for the project, and to describe what, not how. It describes what the customer or business needs will be met by the solution. So what exactly is going to be achieved by the software, by the solution? That is the objective of BRD. Functional means something which is happening actually. Function. It describes the system, services, or functions. For example, compute sales tax on a purchase. Okay, update the database on the server. So statements of services and system should provide how the system should react to a particular input. This comes under function. This comes under functional requirement. And how the system should behave in a particular situation, that comes under functional requirement. Means the answer of how is given by the functional requirement document. How it is to be done. How is going to data flow from one screen to another. So this comes under functional requirement. Functional, what functions are to be performed by the system. Okay. Now, functional requirement document. These documents are very detailed and outline exactly what needs to be delivered. Functional requirement documents are very detailed and outline exactly what needs to be delivered, and would typically be read by business analysts, developers, project managers, and testers. Look at this requirement, this particular document. So this is the most detailed explanation of what exactly is going to happen and how it is going to be delivered. For example, requirement 1, look at this simple example. The system shall be able to register a product using the following fields: name, 20 characters long; details, 2000 characters long; price should be a currency type; category, there should be a pickup list from the categories. This is a very good example of functional requirement. Okay. Another requirement, requirement 2, the system shall support up to 5 pictures that can be listed per product. So these are examples of functional requirement. We needed to prepare these documents, and this is functional requirement document is going to the most exhaustive and detailed document. So it means that a business requirement, the portal should list our product, will be broken into one or more detailed functional requirements. Okay, more examples of functional requirement, like user should be able to search either all of the initial set of databases or select a subset from it. And this is another example. The system shall provide appropriate viewers for the users to read a document in the document store. Another example, every order shall be allocated to a unique identifier, maybe the name should also be given, which the user shall be able to copy to the account's permanent storage area. Now let me show you an exact functional requirement document which we prepared for our client. Okay, let me take you directly to that example. You're able to see this? Now, because I just shared. Okay. Now, if you look at, this is a 43-page document, and this is the actual project which we are working on. Now, look at this login for buyer. The clicking on login will bring a pop-up without reloading the page with the following two tabs. Look at the detail requirement. Login. The login tab will have the following fields: email ID, passwords, login button. So this is button, these are two text boxes. Look at the detail requirement, how they are going. Then we have register page. The register tab will have the following fields: email ID, password, confirm password, terms and condition, checkbox. Now the register button, the user will be registered with the website. So this is a button. This is another register with Facebook. This is again going to be a link, and this is going to be of type button. The credentials should be verified with FB, and then a user will receive an automated generated password on email ID on the first login. So if you go through this document, this is exactly detailed, step by step explanation, shopping cart, order tracking. Now order tracking, this click, what is happening here? Order tracking feature will require a visitor to provide the order ID and the email ID that was used to place the order. For privacy reasons, only if both the details match and the order was placed using guest checkout, he will be shown the order details. For order placed by registered members, they can track the order in the order history module of their member folder. So this is an example, a precise example. Look at these tabs. So they are precisely explaining what exactly I want, what exactly my customer wants. These are functions which are to be performed by the software, by the portal. So if you look at this 43-page document is talking about all that, even more detail, like seller listing page. Now this page will display the list of all sellers of a particular product. The seller listing page will have the following details, like product details, product title, image, rating. Okay, so these are the details which to be documented in functional document. How it is prepared, we'll discuss that part also. Okay, this is a very good example, a real life example of functional requirement document, FRD. The details are written in 43 pages. Okay, all right. Okay, so that is the example which I just explained, where exact real life examples was just demonstrated to you. Again, the agenda of this particular session is to understand what is functional requirement document, not how it is prepared. The quality functional requirements, okay, they should be correct, they should be modifiable, they should be feasible, they should be complete, they should be all necessary. Whatever requirements you saw in that document, they should be verifiable, they should have be prioritized, what should be done first, the sequence or the order in which they are to be done. They should be consistent, there should be no inconsistency during the preparation of these documents. Unambiguous, and traceable. This is the quality requirements of FRD, the features or salient features of FRD we should look at when preparing the functional requirement document. Next is software development life cycle. The software development life cycle, SDLC, or system development life cycle, is the entire process of formal or logical steps taken to develop a software product. I can give you an interesting example to understand the system development life cycle. A system, as I said, is a group of independent entities working together to arrive at a common goal, to meet a common objective. Therefore, there are division of steps to perform that entire, to meet that entire objective. They are not done in one go. This one, not one simple step that you do it and it is done. It's not that. So what happens exactly is we need to have detailed logical steps taken to arrive at that conclusion, to arrive at that objective. So it is a framework that describes the activities performed at each stage of a software development project. So what exactly needs to be done at each stage? The SDLC specify that. The concept generally refers to computer or information systems. This is basically, but it can be used everywhere in every business also. So we can call it as business development life cycle, how the business is working. The phases of SDLC can vary somewhat, but generally it includes the following steps. 1. Define the problem. 2. Design the problem. 3. The coding. 4. Debugging. 5. Testing. 6. Documentation. Then maintenance, and then extension and redesign. Now if you look at the 8th step, it suggests that it is a cycle. Again we have to go back to the step 1 after step 8. So it is a cycle. Actually it is not a straight line, it is a cycle, as I explained yesterday also. Okay, these are the phases of software development life cycle. So define the problem, design the solution, do the coding, do the troubleshooting, test the solution, do the documentation, and do the maintenance of that. Joint application development. I'll explain with example before I explain the slide. The project which we are doing currently, we off and on means once in a month or once in 15 days, we generally meet. And who all are present in the meeting? It is a meeting, generally meeting happens in the meeting room where my client sits, the two participants or two resources which are deployed by the client sits, and my team, the project manager sits in that, and the developers sits in that. And what we discuss is what we have done till now and where we are heading to, and what exactly is being done and how it is done. Why? It is just to avoid unnecessary conflicts later on, unnecessary problems later on, so that we are in the right phase, in the right direction, in the right we are doing the right steps and right solution. These are non-formal, or basically the agenda is generally decided by what exactly is going to be discussed, the flow, and the what we have done so far, where we are heading from this point. This is joint application development. So everybody is participating in this kind of exercise, in this kind of meeting. Or JAD is a process originally developed for designing a computer-based system. It brings together the business area people, maybe end users also, and the IT people in a highly focused workshop. So basically this turns into a workshop of 3-4 hours, which I have realized when I was attending these kind of workshops. So wherein everybody is explaining what they have done, everybody is explaining how they are contributing it, what they are doing, and overall understanding of the project. So the advantage of JAD is include the dramatic shortening of the time it takes to complete the project. It's as simple as that. When you are working on some project and you are informing the client at every stage, look, we have done this and we are now working on this, do the testing of this part. When I was working on the design phase, okay, of the project, when only the screens were designed, the layouts were designed, so we were just discussing with the client, the design, the flow was discussed there. So client has a complete overview of his project. Okay, this is how my project is going to look like. Okay, so this basically dramatically it reduces the time it takes to complete the project. It also improves the quality of final product by focusing on the upfront portion of the development life cycle. For example, when we were working on the database, as I talked about, okay, we were discussing, okay, what are going to be the tables, what their relationships are, which field is going to affect where. So client also have a understanding of what my project is going to be in the end, how the things will be related to each other. Thus, it reducing the likelihood of errors that are expensive to correct later on. So this is a joint application development exercise. More on JAD. So JAD centers around a structured workshop session. It's a very well structured, let me tell you, because we fix the agenda in advance. Okay, very well structured workshop. Participants get together in a room to discuss the problem or project. Everyone hears what the rest of the group has to say. Right word should be listen. Now, what is the difference between hearing and listening? The brain is working in listening, and when we are hearing, brain is not working probably. So everyone listens what the rest of the group has to say, so that means they understand what the other has to say. JAD can eliminate many of the problems with the traditional meetings. Generally, earlier we used to have meeting with the two heads of the businesses. One, the client from his side, head of the business, and here the company head or some project manager, not the developers, not the other members. So the traditional meeting is just more of what is being done, how it is being done. Okay, thank you so much. So we informal meetings, the traditional meetings, it is not that. It is more of a technical come non-technical come functional come from the user point of view. It's a complete meeting where maybe 10 people or 15 people. I have attended meeting where 7-8 people were participating in that meeting. Meetings are not well regarded as productive forum. JAD turns meeting into workshops. They are less frequent, more structured and productive. An agenda provides the structure. The facilitator directs the process, and visual aids clarify concept being discussed, and the group dynamics with constant feedback stimulates creativity. This is what the JAD is all about. The purpose and philosophy of JAD. The purpose is to define the project, design a solution, and monitor the project until it reaches the completion. So more is monitoring. The philosophy of JAD is, the JAD process is based on 4 simple ideas. 1, the people who actually do the job have the best understanding of that project. That's why I told you that developers also participate in this kind of meeting. The people who are trained in information technology have the best understanding of the possibilities of that technology, because they are the better people to explain that. Then information systems and business processes rarely exist in isolation. They surpass the confines of any single system or office and affect work in related departments. People working in these related areas have valuable insights of the role of a system within the larger community. Okay, so the best information systems are designed when all these groups work together on a project rather than one independent person. So they are best explained when everybody is working together. on a project as equal partners. So everybody is participating in this. JAD. Then comes the last topic, user acceptance testing, UAT, also known as acceptance testing, alpha testing, beta testing, testing goes on. The process of verifying that a solution works for the user. So this is basically a definition of user acceptance testing. It is a form of testing to verify the system can support day-to-day business and user scenarios of to validate the rules, various workflows, data correctness, and overall fit for the use, and ensure the system is sufficient and correct for the business uses. There are tools available. Oracle has a very good tool for this testing, Oracle Application Testing Suite. I've been training people on that. That tool basically do a lot of different type of testing, like load testing, stress testing. There are different type of testing which are done. So we have a lot of testing actually to be done on the project. It's not that simply once the solution is created, you simply start using it. It doesn't happen that way. A lot of testing has to be done, different type of testing has to be done. Okay, so testing is basically verifying that yes, it is ready to use, it can be used. What is the goal of user acceptance testing? Given business requirements, we build systems that implement them. Now, UAT tests are derived from these requirements, and they confirm that we have confidence that the system satisfies the requirement. Look at the system. We have system, we have implemented, okay, the requirements are implemented. So system implements the requirement. And UAT tests, the system must passes every UAT test, and the UAT test is derived from requirements. So this is a triangle, requirements, system, and UAT test. So these tests are derived from requirements, and system must pass this, and system implement the requirement. That's why we must check it that it is actually implemented, the requirements are met. That is what the user acceptance testing is. The defect discovery process, how the defects are discovered. Developers create system based on the requirements. Errors often occur in the development process. Naturally, this happens. The UAT testers create a test to verify the system behavior is consistent with the requirement. So look at the roles. Developer is working, developer implement it, and what we have is the error is generated. So user tester, this tester is working on the software to test what he has achieved, what he has done. Okay, so for that he may have test scripts also, or he may use his own experience. Alright, now I would like to tell you the same example which I quoted yesterday. Generally I do this, and I quote this example. It's a very interesting example. When I give that example I conduct interviews, and in the interviews also I ask this question. Simple question: write a program to add two numbers. They use the language of their choice, maybe C language or VB, to come up with the program, and then I do the testing, and it failed. So the testing basically includes all these scenarios. I quote one of my lecturer, professor. He was head of the department computer science in Delhi University in 1996. I quote this. That's a very valuable input for you also as a business analyst, and you should be able to quote this. I was a faculty of C language. I used to consider myself excellent faculty for C, because I told you that I developed a notepad editor kind of software in C language. Good. But my results when I was teaching C language were not that good. In fact, they were horrible. 25% students used to pass the exam. Of course, the exam was tough at that time, and the implementation, it was very difficult at the time. Those were the days. I'm talking about 93, 94, 95. We attended a session by this Dr. P.S. Grover, and he gave us the same example which I asked yesterday, which I discussed yesterday, the write a program to add two numbers. And everybody wrote the wrong program, not the right to his expectations, because it was testing 10 plus 2, 20. It was working fine. When we added 10 and 20, it was giving 30. But when we give the program to add 1 million and 2 million, it was not able to do that. When the user used to type alphabet, it was not used to work on that. It was not giving any error to the user. So it was not correct. It was not able to handle all scenarios. Then he said this legendary comment, which I have been using throughout my life to change the thinking of my students and make them excellent programmer. And this one sentence make you excellent programmer if you are into development. And that is, never ever write the program and to keep in mind that when your program will be successful. Try to think when your program will fail and work on that, and your program will never fail. So he used to say this, always think when your program will fail. Whenever you are writing a program, just writing the program keeping in mind that when your program will fail. So the tester do this. The tester has to understand this. Tester has to make the program fail. He is not look at the simple scenarios or right kind of inputs. So he will not expect the right answers. He will do something wherein the system will not behave the way it is expected to behave. So the tester is a real intelligent person who will do all different, who will give all different kind of inputs to ensure the system is passing all these expectations of the client. So tester is, that is what actually discovery process. So testing is performed to detect defects and confirm usability of the system. And this is the iconic slide and iconic diagram which is used, and it will be used everywhere. Look at a very interesting diagram, my friends, and will help you understand. The first picture shows how customer explained it in the first meeting. We have a tree, we have two strings, and this swing associated with it. Then we have how the project leader understood it. The picture tells it all. He understood the client is looking for something like this. How the analyst designed it. Analyst designed it, okay, probably the client is looking at this. How the programmer wrote it, something like this. Look at the picture number 4. The programmer wrote it. And how the business consultant described it. Wow. Look at the very the charm, the business consultant, the marketing person who has described it. You have this kind of thing. How the project was documented, all clouds. Okay, and what operations installed. Look at this second row and second picture. And finally, how the customer was billed, how it was supported, and what customer actually really needed. Look at the gaps at every stage. If the requirement is clear, if the functional requirement document FRD is clear and is including all the requirements of the customer, every detailed, then there is no reason that this kind of problems or this kind of deviations from the exact requirement will happen. This was the agenda for the day. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, now everybody problem